Remember somewhat back in the day, and I began to think about possibly a boring issue, but I hope that we'll glean something out of it this morning. We'll get a little something that'll help us maybe, just a little bit. So, our ritual back in the day was somebody would feed us early in the day before the game, and we'd go down to the gym a couple of hours before the game and begin to try to prepare and get our minds right. And guys, there's a separation in there. I see you this morning, we're eating, we have phones, we're talking, we're enjoying ourselves, and that's what we're supposed to do. That's part of being on this team, part of being this bond of brothers that you will never forget and you will never not be a part of. From now on, you're going to be part of this regiment of the Bacon County Red Raiders. I am one of you. I am just from the past. There will be people from the future that will still be one of you. Y'all represent the Raider Nation, and that's the way it works. So as we would try to come to that understanding of how to get our mind right for the game. I mean, some of us do different. Everybody does a little different to get your mind right for the game. But there does have to be a transition from everything you're doing now and this morning and today, and there has to be a transition in your mind. Now, who's in charge of that? Well, we have coaches. We have a wonderful group of coaches that has been working on that. I am sure that your training has been put in place and that you are very fit, physically fit, and able to stand the task. I am sure you've looked at film and you understand what your positions are and how to play them. We understand all that. That's mechanical. And what I want to talk to you a few minutes about is getting your mind right. There's one person that can do that. There's a time I remember back a few years back where I had went up to McRae to look at some work that we were planning on bidding on. After arriving up there, I see this gentleman's home and he has junk out in front of it. I'm a junk lover, so I have to stop and I have to see what's going on there. And I say junk, it's just a lot of different decorative things happening in that yard. I get out and the man meets me and I tell him my business and what I'm doing and that I just wanted to look at his place, and he said, great, that's what it's here for. And upon getting ready to leave after viewing everything, he asked me, he said, who's in charge of you? That was kind of a loaded question to me. I said, well, there's a lot of people in charge of me. I mean, you know, my wife's certainly in charge of him. My banker's in charge of me. I said, this is just my pastor. And, you know, I give him a whole list of what I thought he wanted. He said, you want to really know who's in charge of you? I said, well, sure. I said, yes. He said, follow the rope. There was this old rope, old weathered rope laying on the ground. He said, follow the rope. At the end of the rope, it'll show you who's in charge of you. I began to follow that rope. And of course, he had played on that rope. He had it over in the tree, and it came around and went through a pipe. And it went around a corn bin, and it just meandered all through his yard. And as I got to the end of that rope, it came up on a little well. You may not know what a well looks like, but back in the days when we would go feed up at the barn, we had an old hand-dug well, and we'd pull on a tickle in a bucket and fill up our buckets out of that well and go feed the livestock, water the livestock with that. So a well is something setting on the ground, up about this high. And I followed that old rope up and over into that well, and I looked, and the rope was wound up very tightly inside the well in a nice circular position. And in the center of that was a mirror. Well, I looked in that mirror, I got the answer to that question he was giving me, and that was who was in charge of me. And that was me. As I looked into that mirror, I began to understand what he was saying is that me and only me can be in charge of what I do. how I act, how I conduct myself, and how I get ready for a football game. Only me. So your buddy can't help you, mom can't help you, the coaches have prepared you, your teachers have taught you, but only you can decide this afternoon, a couple of hours before this game. Maybe it takes 3, maybe it takes 1. I don't know, everybody's different. But you have to begin to decide that you will not be whipped tonight. Have y'all worked hard this year? Have y'all worked hard? I see heads shaking. Y'all ran. Y'all been in the sunshine. You've been in the rain. You lifted them weights. You've done all the things that prepared you to win this ball game tonight. You've done it. The last thing you have to do today and tonight is get your mind right. Decide in your mind and in your heart that 11 of you at one time is going to determine that the fellow in front of you will not whip you tonight. He will not alter you from what you have been trained to do. If you're able to do that, if 11 of you at each time are able to do that, you stand a fine chance of a victory tonight. I want to share a very short little brief thing with you about how your mind perceives things, how we look at things, how we think about things. Hypothetically, let's say this morning that you went to the doctor and the doctor sat down with you and he's talking with you and he says, young man, you have 1 year to live. 1 year. Man, that's a short time, ain't it? That ain't long. That means you got 1 Christmas possibly left, 1 Thanksgiving, 1 birthday, possibly 1 Mother's Day that you get to tell your mother and be with her on Mother's Day 1 last time that you love her. That's a very short time. In your mind right now, you're thinking, man, 1 year. Could I get done everything I need to get done and want to get done and want to do in 1 year? Such a short time. A month or 2 later, the doctor calls you back and he says, come on by the office. We've got a new cure for you. You're going to be just fine. You go by and you take care of that. So now you're back healthy and you're fine. And you're excited and you want to go shopping. You want to go somewhere shopping and you have a little money in your pocket, but you don't have a way to get there. So we have to make a decision. How are we going to get there? We're thinking in our mind, what do we want to do? We see this old guy coming down the road and we kind of know him. We've seen him around, but we don't know him. We flag him down and we say, hey, what you doing, man? He says, hey, I'm going to Waycross Walmart. You know, and you say, hey, man, that fits what I wanted to do today. Can I catch a ride? Can I hitch with you over to Walmart and can I come back with you? Oh, yeah, get in. Get in. Halfway there, the Ware County Sheriff's Office stops the car. They remembered the car from a few nights before on a drug bust. You were unaware of that. They get both of you out and have you stand at the front of his car. They search his car. There's a whole bag of pills in the front console between both of you. Between the 2 of you. He comes back, he talks to you, and you say, man, hey, I'm playing ball over at Baker County High School. I'm a football player. I ain't got nothing to do with these pills. I don't know nothing about them. He talks to the driver, and the driver says, hey, the kid got in the car with him. Told me if he drive me to Waycross, he gave me a little cash when he got rid of his bag. Both of you go to jail because you decided to get in the wrong car at the wrong time with the wrong person. You ain't done a thing. Not a thing wrong. But you going to jail. You go before the judge and the judge says, young man, I don't believe that you had anything to do with this. I think you're a fine and upstanding young man, but somebody's got to go to jail for this problem. I'm going to give you 1 year in the finest correctional facility the state of Georgia has. Jackson Prison. Now that year just turned into a long year. Did it not? Did your mind just thought about that year? Somebody's going to be trying to steal your shoes, your food, and you for a whole year. You're going to live in pure hell. Okay? Do you see how your minds work on that year? It was a year in both instances. You were involved in both instances, but the way your mind perceived that year in both instances was totally different. If you do not and you are not able to get your mind right for the night's ball game, you are whipped. It won't matter, no matter what you bench press, how much you run, how much you practice. It will not matter if you have the finest coaches in the world. You are not able to set your mind that you will not be refused tonight as a team. 11 at the time has to do it. One man can take a play off and decide, man, I need to rest. Or wide out. You run out there and the play's going to the other side. And you know when you say, I ain't involved in this, taking me a time out. I'm tired. You jump off the line and bump into your man, and he knows immediately you ain't involved, and he trails off the other way. He has just gotten his mind, you have just given him an edge, because when you come back out there and you foul that ball 10, 15 yards down that line, he's going to be right with you, because he's going to know immediately, hey, this ain't how he does normal. He's getting the ball. He's going to play smart. You're going to give him an edge. Foul that ball like you're supposed to do, like the gentleman has trained you. Make him think that ball's coming to you and keep him over there in case your man cuts fire and has a way to get up the middle. You got your man off over there blocking and working on it. Train him, man. Train him. Work on him. Get your mind right. I'll bore you with one old football tale and I'll let you be. 1979, playing Urban County, Ocilla, Georgia. Homecoming. We are a better team. We know we are. We're ranked better than them. We've looked better than them on film. They won a state championship, I believe it was in 75. But we knew we was better. We knew we were. We saw it all week. We had a great practice all week. Halftime, they're leading 14-0. 14-0. You're talking about a pile of disgusted young men. We used to go over at the North High School, the old high school, that down the scoreboard was down there, way down at the end, and that's where we used to go and lay down on the grass behind the scoreboard at halftime. And that's where the coach tried to catch up with you and get you straightened out and show you things that's going on. And stay down there in disgust, knowing that the better team was down 14-0. And why? Why? Because we didn't have our minds right. We done had that ball game won. You hear me? We look good on film. We look good in the rankings of the paper that week. We matched up man for man. We done won that. We didn't even have to play the game. Problem was, we did have to play the game. And we down at our halftime 14-0 at our homecoming. And a few of us seniors got together down there. All of us so mad we crying. We're upset. We ill. And we go to the coach, and there was this huge tackle on the right-hand side. His name was Moose. We could hear him talking to him. All night, he just destroyed everything going to the right on offense. Destroyed it. Him and his linebacker and his end. His end was perfect. His end knew that big guy had it bit down the inside, and his end would come across. He'd turn everything in quick. Yeah, it's 8 up out there. I played left tackle. They had walked the linebacker over because he didn't need him over there. but we had an extra man in the hole to deal with, and we'd almost scored 2 or 3 times that night. Fumbled one, just couldn't get it in the end zone. We went there and begged and said, Coach, please run left, outside veer left. We ran the veer offense. I apologize, man. That's what we ran. Amen. We loved it, though. The old triple option. Give you 3 ways to score in one play. We went back on that field, and as I went to go on the field, as we had gotten the ball, start the offense off, I remember Coach looking at me and he says, now let's find out if all that was caught down there. Let's see. So we go on the field and we're going to run left, outside veer left. That is nothing more than a dive play over the left tackle, man. I'm sure y'all have a play like that, and I'm sure it's called something else. But that's all it is. One back's going to come through, the lead back's going to come through, he's going to try to pick up whatever's in the way, and the second back's coming through with the ball. And as a tackle, I'm supposed to handle the tackle, and I'm supposed to try to cut out an offside linebacker. If I get the tackle handled, get him on his back, I'm supposed to hunt the offside linebacker. We ran that play, and we ran that play, and we ran that play, and we scored. Put it in the end zone. 7-14. We took up almost the third quarter. They came back out, and our defense had fed off of that. Offensive drive, they had fed off of it. And they were ready. They had their minds right. They had their hearts right. They were ready to go at it at 110%, and they shut them down. Shut them down. They punted it, and we got the ball back. We went to go on that field. Coach says, we really need to run something else. They're going to walk more over. And we begged him. We said, okay, Coach, left, outside, here, left. Leave it alone until it stops. Sounded good. We just scored. We got to the huddle. Left, outside, here, left. Broke out of that huddle to head up that line. And you guess where Moose is at? Moose has been moved over in front of me on the left offensive tackle. He is opposing me. They have talked to him and explained to him what we're doing, and they have had him shade me to the outside so I can't hook him. So I can't hook him and get him inside and then hit my linebacker. They had talked to him and showed him what we were doing. Something came into my heart and in my mind at that time and said, no, I don't care what they moved over here, who they moved over here. We are the better football team. I am the better football player, and Moose has got to go. In about 6 plays, we scored. Left, outside, veer left. We came back, we got the ball again, 14-14. It's in the fourth quarter. We go back on the field. Left, outside, veer left. We're going to run some more. We broke out of that huddle and went to go up to the line, and Moose was missing. Moose was back over yonder. As I leaned over, getting ready for that play, I looked down yonder and I said, Moose, come on back down here. This is where the play's going to be. We're going to run it right here. Referee took the ball off that foot and come by me. He said, leave him alone. He's not coming back over here. We won that night 28-14 against Irvin County, O'Sullivan. Because we got our minds right. What was the difference in the first half and the second half? The first half, we were strong, we were physical, we done all the things we knew we could do, but we did not have our minds right. We were not dedicated to 110% play on every play. You dedicate your minds tonight, 110%, each and every one of you, whether you win or lose, when you walk off that field, you're going to be proud of yourself, and everybody in that stadium is going to be proud of you. Thank you, men, for letting me speak to you.
Brother Marty, great speech, man. We don't play good.